And we're back on this marathon wine tasting in lockdown. Actually, post-lockdown, of course, because we wouldn't be inside, socially not distant. Um, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. And we're changing colour. We've gone from bubbles to still, and now we're going from white to red. Andre, what are we trying next?
So this is Burn Cottage Pinot Noir, New Zealand. I do put my competitive nature aside when it comes to wine, and I've come to appreciate that they make fantastic wine, and especially Pinot Noir. So Central Otago, a little shout out to some of our other wino friends that also love wine from.
Yes, there are a few, and they're fed up with the Felton Road bashing.
Exactly. This is kind of lockdown. Probably gem for me. I again got put onto this by my Berry Brothers guy. I said, look, try this. This is really good. I'm just going to put this a little bit closer. The label is absolutely fascinating, beautiful. German family that bought some land up. They're very well known in the kind of wine industry. As I said, biodynamically farmed. We like the low sulfite because it's something that, there's a lot of talk about. I think quintessential Pinot Noir. Love to know what you think, Chris, when we have a taste. To me, if this is what New Zealand's producing, there's a great future, because this is, I think it is, it's lovely. It kind of, there's just a little bit of hint of more fruit, that deeper dark red berry that you sometimes get in Burgundy, which I absolutely love, but it's fascinating. So shall we have a little? Can I just say, the farm 34 hectares, I think, so it's not massive. Mainly Pinot Noir. They actually do a very interesting Riesling Gruner Veltlinger blend, which I've not had before, but I want to try it. But other than that, it's the Pinot Noir.
I can't resist one question before we move to tasting. You've tried a couple of bottles of this at least. How can you make any comparison or any opinion on this versus South African Pinot?
I'd hate to say, but my gut feel is on the majority of South African Pinots, this is probably a little bit ahead of the curve, I think, if we go into the top 3-4 in South Africa, that's, it becomes more difficult. It does feel like cooler climate, it doesn't have that kind of, sometimes the warm bakiness that I get in some of the South African Pinots. It's not here, which then it loses that Pinot characteristic. This to me is pure Pinot, but with a slightly, probably let's call it the New Zealand twist.
Let's give it a go.
Let's try.
Let's go. So from my perspective, I haven't tasted this wine, well, in fact, ever, but certainly not yet today. The Felton Road, as you're all sick of me here saying,
he's not a fan.
I appreciate that it's a great wine, but inherently I don't love the taste, and it's the taste of tea bags, and that kind of blueberries, sort of a blueness and a tannin that I don't really associate with French Pinot or with Pinot in general. I think it's unique in that world, and personally I just don't love the flavor. It's also from Central Otago, so I'm interested to see whether this has that same taste and essence, or whether it is just a Felton Road thing. Let's give it a go. What's the percentage on this, Andre, and how much would we expect to buy this? 13.5.
I think this was about 35 plus pounds a bottle. You're smiling, Chris.
I'm smiling because it tastes like Felton Road. It's
there's more for me to know.
Right, so let's keep on going with this one. We've had that first taste, which to me, I have to say, I sort of thought, I'm now so experienced that if I get a Felton Road blind, I'll get it every time. And this one is the same, so if it's not Felton Road, it must be Central Otago. But this thing seems to be evolving. I mean, what's your view, Andre? I mean, you know Felton Road a bit as well.
Yeah.
Do you like this wine personally? And do you think it's distinguishable from Felton Road? Or if you were served this blind, what might you think it is?
No, I love it, and for me the connotation or the connection with Felton Road is not immediately there. But for me, I'm kind of going, US, kind of Sonoma. It's kind of that. It's got a slightly, as I said, it's got the cold climate, but it on the fruit, it is more evolved than what you would kind of expect, for me, at least in a Burgundy. And then if I'm going out of that, where am I going? And then I'm going to the US, I'm going North America, and again, it's not my sweet spot, so I can't really be too specific, but that is where I'd be heading.
I think it really resonates what you say about West Coast USA. For me, I think what I need to do is figure out, because there are distinct wine regions in New Zealand for Pinot Noir. I'm gonna name two, but there are more than two. There's the Atarangi up in Martinborough. I think bottom of the North Island, bottom of the North Island of New Zealand, and then Central Otago, which is way down south in the South Island. And I need to understand, I think, a bit better what's the difference between those. How do those become distinguishable from each other? And then you could put a Felton Road beside this, and will they be the same? I'm getting that tea, I'm getting that tannin, I'm getting that kind of sort of odd, slightly blueberry taste. But in fairness, on reflection, when we drunk it for a few minutes and it's opened up for a few minutes, I'm getting it less. This is different, I think.
Yeah.
And I'm intrigued, and I kind of want to try more. But any final thoughts on this one, Andre? So we covered the percentage, we covered the price. Is this available in the UK? You're getting it from BBR?
Yes, BBR, but it's actually not easily available. It's quite, and I'm trying to get the 2016 now. Funny enough, directly from the farm, and with the kind of transport and everything, probably comes out the same price you can buy it here. So that's something to look into in future, but not readily available. Small production, and I quite like that, because it's a little gem. Not everybody can get hold of it. Don't pass on the secret, but I'm going to probably be buying directly from Burn Cottage.
And we'll be talking about that offline.
Exactly. And they have a lovely T-shirt.
I'm going to be really unkind here. Put you on the spot. We've had 3 wines. I can't even remember the name of the first lovely sparkling champagne varietal.
Yeah, Valera Monroe.
Valera Monroe. We had the Elodie,
Yep.
Shannon, and now we're into this one. Can you rank the 3? Really unfair.
No, it's not. For me, it's Elodie, Galbados Kloof, number 1. I'd probably go for the Burn Cottage as my second, and the Monroe. And that's probably slightly unfair to the Monroe, but it's just, if I had to rank them.
I'm probably there. Elodie's way out in front for me. I love that wine. I know we've covered that earlier on in the clip, but we've continued to drink it out in the lovely late April sunshine, and it's giving me flavors that I haven't tasted before, at least all together in one glass. Absolutely fantastic wine. What we were kind of shocked and appalled by is that 3.7 on Bovino. That feels way underrated, and we'll maybe talk about that. I think that is a fantastic wine, fantastic price, and we've got a lot of people in the background, which is what it's all about. We're about to cook and we're about to have fun, and we'll be back shortly with the next wine, which I think will be the Barolo Lazara.
Yes, can't wait. And if Chris doesn't love this, I'm sending him home.
I will love it, so I'm not going home. Right, we're back. Wine number 4. You can probably tell there are more clothes on. We're still in early spring here, and it's getting on in the day, but we've moved on. We've gone through the New Zealand Pinot Noir, and we're into the Barolo. Andre, we're almost finished through the Barolo, but talk to us about the Barolo. Give us the background.
Yeah, so I suppose first of all, why I chose this wine is, Chris, we've been discussing a lot about the virtues of Barolo, and I think you've gone through a little bit of a phase of drinking some young Barolos and thinking the tannins are overbearing, and am I still in love with Barolo?
I've lost the faith.
Yeah, and my mission was a little bit is let's bring back the faith. 2008, I think this is drinking absolutely beautifully now, but a little bit more about Giovanni Rosso. So, as I said earlier, we're talking southeast of La Mora, not far. This actual plot where this wine comes from is only about a hectare, in size, so very small, tiny production. For me, this is just, when I think about Barolo, this is it, right? I think we spoke about this earlier. Would you get this wrong? I think, you probably wouldn't. Kind of go like, this is Barolo. Also lighter in the sense of, it's not as full-bodied, but I do think that the tannins is really nicely intact. So, we kind of lose that young, offensive tannins, and that's not here. The color, and it's probably difficult for everybody to see on camera, but it's beautifully brown. This is a lovely brown color, and just, I think, in a perfect drinking window now. I probably, wouldn't want to guess how long this could go, but I would personally, another 3 to 5 years, I think is in its peak. Love it. Small producer, which I think Barolo is all about. There's a lot of really niche producers, and well-made wine, which you wouldn't probably, if you follow wine, you've probably never heard of this. Price-wise, probably I think it's 50 pounds a bottle. So it's not cheap, but good quality. Absolutely love it.
Thanks, Andre. The thing that I found about Barolo is a good Italian wine or a good Barolo. There's for me, more than any other wine at the minute, at least, you get so much more from the aroma, from the smell. I mean, you can almost enjoy the smell only, and in fact, it's very identifiable from the smell. I mean, this does everything that you said it should. I've had these 12s and 13s, and the tannins are they just wreck your mouth and your palate, and there's none of this with this wine. It's perfectly in balance, right? Yeah. It's whatever it is, 14 years old or whatever it is, but it's just that little bit longer. It's into that plateau phase of 10 to 15 years, comfortably in there, and is all the better for it. All of the kinks have been ironed out. Should we give it a taste?
Yeah.
What's incredible about this wine, I think, is having drunk it throughout dinner, where we had some Italian sausage and some ribeye steak, is the tannins are in remission, and yet the fruit is just in abundance. So the age has dampened the tannins, but done nothing for the fruit, really.
Yeah.
And it's a lovely wine. We talked over dinner about maybe the only thing that would set this wine back is that maybe it's lacking a little bit in fullness and in body, but it's got that length and it's got that fruit, and the tannins are well balanced. But Andre, I suppose what I'm left with is just to ask you one question, which is, 2008, so let's get this right. So it's 12, 13, about 13, 14 years old. I'm tasting quite a lot of age in this. So I'm saying 2012, 2013 Barolo is undrinkable, far too young. 2008, which isn't that many years before that, I'm tasting age. Is there a very narrow window for Barolo, or what do you think?
No, I do think, and a good friend of ours will probably speak more kind of knowledgeably about it. The kind of variation between vintages is very important.
Right.
I do think that 2008 is known for younger drinking, so this is probably now hitting that peak. Right. 2009 you might want to hang on to a little bit longer. So I think you need to be very careful, selective, but also within the year you need to kind of look at in the area, because everything is not made the same, and it's very easy that if you just pick up a journal, you kind of go like, oh, this, and I need to drink it now. Well, actually, you can kind of go a little bit deeper and say, well, actually, within that pocket, there is things that will last longer than that. So to me, that's the takeaway. It's I don't think there is a general drinking window. From an vintage point of view, I think 2008 now is drinking really well, but I don't think you can extrapolate that in terms of age for all vintages, if that makes sense. Yeah.
No, it does. And this bit might not make the cut, but a final cheeky question. Can you tell us about the time when you were in the village of Barolo when, what was it, a wallet was stolen, a wallet was lost?
Indeed. So we were there with friends from ours from Geneva, and we went on to the Barolo Museum, which was actually fantastic. And they have a little kind of a cycling wheel where you cycle and then you go around and you see the various sites of Barolo. And a good friend of ours actually lost their wallet. And we only figured that out a bit later on. We went back, we retrieved the wallet, and the only thing I can say that the celebrations after that was amazing. So if this does not make the cut, that's okay too. But it was fantastic.
And the celebration for all Barolo, or were they Barbera or champagne or what?
Champagne in there.
Fantastic. One wine to go, and we'll give it our best go.